First, create the frame to build your wreath on. I chose 1-inch tubing and 17-inch diameter. With the roller that I'm using, I needed extra length on each side, so I grabbed a 5-foot stick of 1-inch tubing. I rolled a tight circle, so I would have to cut my circle into quarter pieces to get my circle back to flat and make it a perfect 17-inch diameter. Get the circular frame tacked on both sides and fully welded. Remember to drill a small vent hole. Now it's time for the decorative pieces. I chose top fuel pistons. But because aluminum can't be welded to steel, we need to use bolts welded to the circular frame. Drilling 2 holes in each piston in a place where you can access the nuts is important. On mounting the pistons to the circular frame, space them out correctly and place the bolts with nuts on them underneath the piston. Take the nuts off and bolt and tighten the pistons down. I cut 1.5 inches off of each valve stem to keep them from being too much taller than the piston. Once the valves are cut, place them at a 45-degree angle and tack them in place on both sides before fully welding them. I chose to use spark plugs. I love to fill all visual voids with something, but there are no rules, so do whatever you want. If we did our job correctly placing the pistons, you should have just enough room to add 1 spring and 1/2 of an open-ended wrench. The next important step is hanging the wreath, making sure to measure where you want it to hang on your door and also considering its overall weight. I chose to cut it out on the plasma table out of 1/8-inch mild steel, and I made it 1.25 inches wide, and I chose to use hex holes to break up the look of the strap. The last steps depend on where you plan on hanging your wreath. If your door is mostly glass, then you will need to think about adding padding. Merry Christmas.